You want to take some notes? Yeah. Hey, you want to take notes? Oh, wait, no, that. This is the round table. For what? For 79th Street. Oh. You don't want to take notes?
Good morning. Good afternoon. Excuse me. Just wanted to let you know that you're not on mute, and we already have the recording going for the round table.
Okay. This is Joyce Brown.
Hi, Ms. Brown. Lisa Washington.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lisa.
Good afternoon. Who am I speaking with?
This is Sophia.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you for joining us. How are you? Wait, are my glasses too much?
No, I love it. I see you're in space. You've decided that you're escaping COVID, huh?
Look, whatever it takes, right? I thought it was a good background. I thought it was a good background.
It is. I love it. No, it's better than my, boring walls and and actually, I just figured out how to get my webcam to work. So I'm just excited that you can see me.
Just to let you know, we are already recording.
Oh yeah, she's on.
Oh, great.
Yeah. We're already recording. Jim, I called Luke and got the password because I didn't have the password, but I got it, so.
Okay, good, Lisa. That's good. We were just trying to figure that out. I'm glad you did. Okay, great.
Is Kim or Patrick on? Because I can't see. Let me see. I'm gonna do it like this. Hi, Miss Young. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Ms. Washington. Thank you for inviting me.
Good afternoon, Miss Kelly. Hi, Alderman.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Jim.
Luke, I cannot, when I'm sharing my screen, I cannot see hands raised or chats. Can you monitor that portion for me?
Sure can.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Karen.
You are welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I just, I don't know about, I have a senior. And so we're going through all of that process, and I'm just shocked and overwhelmed.
How is your senior already? That's not possible.
Yes, she's a senior.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I'm just, a little overwhelmed, right?
Yeah, no, it's a lot. And especially in the midst of,
all of this.
Yeah. Well, I just got a message that my internet was a little unstable, so I'm going to keep my video off until I have to present.
Okay. I have you first on the agenda.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm actually off today. This is the only thing I'm doing. So.
Oh, wow. I sent I used the slides that you sent to Patrick.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right. Thank you.
So it is noon. I'm going to give people a little bit more time to join us. We currently have 12 participants. Let's see. Waiting for representative from the 8th Ward to join us.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Alderman. I was told
How
that
you
we're
doing?
going to have a conflict.
I do. I'm gonna get out around 12:30.
Okay. So I'll stop texting Al. We're at 15.
Look, I'm gonna buy him a watch for Christmas. That's as good. He can't keep up with the time.
Yeah, so much on his plate. You guys are busy.
Look, it's crazy right about now, Lisa. It is really crazy.
So if we could just give people 2 more minutes and then we'll get started, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Alderman Harris, how you doing? This is Patrick.
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Hey, I was watching City Council yesterday, and I just thought that was a wonderful, touching testimony you shared on the resolution for breast cancer from Alderman Coleman, and you shared your story. I thought that was very nice. I just wanted to say that was a great thing to hear and watch yesterday.
Well, I mean, what we can't all forget is that politicians are people too, and so people tend to forget that we go through and do some of the same things that they have to go through. So it's more important for me to tell people to go get that mammogram and get checked out. I thought I want to encourage people to do that because it saved my life.
Yeah. You know, everyone thinks you guys are superheroes, but like you're right, you guys are real people going through everyday stuff too, and so. I just wanted to say that before we get started. Don't get a chance to talk to you, see you too much now. So, but yeah, good to hear you. Good to see that yesterday. And just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you, keeping me in my prayers.
Thank you.
Harris is a superhero.
It's who? I'm sorry.
Michelle Harris is a superhero.
Yeah, right. I should be so lucky, 7. I'm trying to keep up with you young people.
You put on your black outfit, you look like a little superhero.
Look, that's my favorite color now. That is pink.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if Marlene Hopkins has joined us. No, I don't see it. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our 4th roundtable on 79th Street in West Southwest Corridor and South Shore. Today we have a couple of presentations. We have the CEO of Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, Karen Northington Reeves, which is going to give us an overall presentation of what her organization does and how it can benefit the Invest Southwest Corridor. We have an update regarding the Neighborhood Opportunity Funds. And then we're going to dive in and talk about what is an RFP and how the city is looking at revamping, or how we have revamped RFPs, which stands for Request for Proposals, and talk about how this process could be utilized to begin to market and sell property, city-owned property on the corridor. And then we're going to have an open discussion. And if Marlene joins us, Marlene Hopkins, who's the first deputy in the Department of Buildings, want her to talk briefly about the overall opportunities or resources that DOB has in assisting with these vacant buildings. And so with that being said, I just wanted to first remind everyone that this session is being recorded, as it always has been recorded. And if you could please put yourself on mute until we open up for questions, that will be helpful. As a reminder, the whole Invest Southwest corridor or initiative, the purpose is to marshal the resources of multiple city departments, community organization, and corporate partners to make an impact on the corridors that were chosen. There are 12 corridors in 10 neighborhoods on both the city of Chicago South and West sides. It is the purpose of directing these resources to these communities to reactivate neighborhood cores and spur economic development. We're trying to focus on increasing pedestrian activity, transportation, retail services, creating public open spaces, and just provide amenities for the community residents. So the goal of the roundtables is just for us to reach out and touch and talk to the stakeholders regarding the corridor and just produce and increase community engagement. Sorry for the typo. Here we go again. This is a two-way communication for DPD initiatives and community needs and how we come to a common ground on those two separate entities. Our engagement strategies includes ward-specific engagement, public meetings and webinars, digital communication, and in-person social distancing meetings when possible, and hopefully soon. With that being said, I'm going to now turn this over to Karen Northington Reeves, who is again the Chief Executive Officer for the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. Karen.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Alderman. I'm just going to walk through a brief overview of the public workforce system, the city of Chicago and Cook County, and then I'll stay on and answer any questions you all might have. I'm actually going to turn off my video just to have better bandwidth. So, all right. So, as I mentioned, I'm Karen Northington Reeves. I'm the CEO of the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. And in recent months, we've heard a lot of talk about the public health system, where we are the public workforce system. So the public workforce system is primarily funded through the United States Department of Labor, through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funds. Those dollars come to us through the State Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity and allow us to operate the system, a network, an umbrella. We are an umbrella organization operating a network of a number of community-based organizations. We also operate 10 American Job Centers, 9 satellite centers, and 4 sector-driven centers. We sub-grant our dollars through an RFP process. You heard Lisa mention the RFP a few moments ago. We sub-grant our dollars through a competitive procurement process, typically every couple of years. And the community-based organizations deliver the frontline services through the federal system. Our services can be accessed through 72 different locations throughout the city and county, and typically we see about 140,000 people a year through all of our agencies and our centers. Roughly about 10% of those folks will register for formal career and vocational education, which is free to them. We also work with over 1,000 businesses a year. We have about 2,000 employers that we've worked with since we launched. We work with roughly about 1,000 a year who use us to help source their talent pipeline. Next slide. So this is just a little bit more detail about the system. So we have 10 American Job Centers, which are high volume sites. There are 5 in the city and 5 in the county. I mentioned our delegate agencies, so those are the community-based organizations that we subgrant to. We also have youth serving organizations. The age with respect to the youth population has actually increased in the last several years. It used to be 16 to 21, and now it is 16 to 24. The focus for the youth programming, or young adult programming, I suppose I should say, is not just on employment, but on post-secondary education. What we know in this country is that everybody does not need a college degree to succeed, but in order to be gainfully employed, you are going to need some level of post-secondary education that's tailored for those particular positions. We also operate sector centers. We're actually opening our 4th sector center in just another week or so. The sector centers are business services hubs that focus on meeting the needs of local employers, whether they be small, medium, or large, and we focus that work in particular industries. So we have an information technology sector center, one in healthcare, one in retail and hospitality, and the 4th in transportation, distribution, and logistics, otherwise known as TDL, is opening, as I mentioned, in another week or so. We also have career pathway training programs, which are cohort-based models where we essentially purchase classroom size training from different vendors, whether it be a community college or a private training program. And then in addition to that, we provide what are called ITAs, or individual training accounts. Those are essentially vouchers that are used to pay for occupational training for any of our job seeker clients. Next slide. I'm going to take a few moments to just highlight a couple of our initiatives. So as you all are likely aware, we were awarded the Chicago COVID Contact Tracing Corps contract. We subgranted to 31 community-based organizations that will hire up to 600 people throughout our communities to serve as community-based contact tracers. This will complement what is already being done by the Chicago Department of Public Health through many of the local clinics and hospitals. But we are operating the community-based core. That's a little bit further in this presentation. I'm just going to highlight some of our other initiatives right now. Opportunity Works is a youth and young adult initiative that's focused on subsidized internships and career exploration. We focus in that initiative on manufacturing, TDL, and information technology. Chicago Codes is our coding boot camp that is focused on creating a diversity pipeline within the information technology sector. We also manage a skilled trades portfolio focused on a number of construction initiatives. We have a contract with the Illinois Tollway for our Construction Works initiative, and we were recently awarded the CTA Red and Purple Line modernization contract as well. And again, focused on targeting specifically African Americans, women, people who have been traditionally and historically kept out of labor unions, as well as these skilled trades positions. And so through this program, we are recruiting, training, and placing people within pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, and permanent employment within the skilled trade. Next. We've also recently launched a youth or young adult workforce development portal, and I would really encourage people to take a look at that. Lisa, I don't know if you'll be able to go and visit that site, but I can put the link in the chat. That portal was really born out of this pandemic and trying to be able to reach young people who we know are at home and looking to engage in activities. And so with that, with the portal, we are able to provide virtual job shadowing. There's a work-based learning module where we are working to provide stipends. It's a five module course on informational interviewing, teaching young people how to build their social capital and build their network and foster the skills that they need in order to be successful with respect to job searching and job preparation. It is a phenomenal site that has access to roughly 4,000 different videos and interviews with leaders from all across the country, representative of kids here in Chicago. It is also focused on, and I'm sorry, I think we've lost the screen. Lisa, do you want me to share my screen? Did you want me to share my screen, Lisa? Okay, I'm going to assume everybody can
Please
still hear me.
go ahead and share your screen. Well, I'm pulling it back up. Let's see. Let me see.
I was just going to I can pull up the portal for the
Okay, go ahead.
youth. Okay.
Go ahead, and I'll just wait.
Sure. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to share. If you enable that for me, there we go. All right. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Great. So this is the portal for the young people. So they can explore the videos. There's a documentary library of more than 4,000 interviews with leaders from all across the country. They can explore those folks' individual journeys to their current careers. They can also, you could go into this and say you were interested in, I don't know, let's say engineering. And it will pull up the stories of folks within the engineering sector. You can also learn about people's pathways and follow them here. Here's Rita Simo, who actually just passed away last week, who's the founder of the People's Music School here in Chicago. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. Here's Ella Jenkins. I think I just scrolled past John Legend and Craig Robinson. Number of folks that will resonate with young people. Here's a number of resources on the site that will tie them back to the partnership and also to the initiatives that I've lifted up. We also have a page that shows who's hiring now in Cook County that we're updating every single week. Despite the fact that we're in a pandemic and many people have lost their jobs, there are many sectors that are actually still hiring. Careerpathways.net is another site that helps with identifying short-term training programs and funds to cover those costs. And then we have a virtual day in the life where you can identify the industry sector that you're interested in on the left, and on the right, you'll be able to access videos of individuals who are performing work in that particular sector. And then there's also a number of documentaries. To be determined, this is for young people who are trying to figure out what their path in life is going to be. This young woman is actually a graduate of our program, and she's featured in the documentary. Obviously, here's a very famous Chicagoan in Michelle Obama, and this documentary is focused on young people who are first-generation college goers. And here, Skill Powered is focused on those who don't go to college but go on to pursue skilled trades. And so the documentary is showing the journey of young people and their experience there. And then finally, this is the 5-module course that I was referring to. So we're looking to provide stipends to young people for completing this course. There is a framework that can be followed by mentors, career counselors, and other people who support young people. So I'll stop sharing there. All right, Lisa, if you could pull up the deck, that'd be great.
Yeah, it would be.
Oh, you can't access it?
Oh, okay, hold on, let's see.
Not a problem. I actually have it, so
Here
just
we go.
hold on.
What page are we on? Here. Yeah.
I can't see it.
Can you see it? You can't.
No, ma'am. It's okay.
Hold on.
I can pull it up. I can pull it up on my end and share. It's not a problem.
Give me a moment. We gotta. I have to be able to pull this up eventually. So let's just go ahead and get it done now.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Actually,
Here we go. Can you see, can everyone see the screen now?
Yes, but you actually have the outdated version of this presentation. So
you want to produce yours?
Yeah, if you'll stop sharing, I can share the rest.
Okay, I got 10 more minutes and I need to move on, okay?
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
So
here, I'm pulling it up right now.
Great.
Okay. In addition to that, we partner with CHA. We do some work with AARP for those who are over 50 who are seeking to regain employment. And probably most relevant on 79th Street is our new Chatham Education and Workforce Center, which will be opening in another week or two. We have finally completed, Alderman Harris, are you still there? We finally finished our 11,000 square foot state-of-the-art workforce training center.
Awesome.
We are so excited. I have never been involved in a project that took this long to bring to life. But we are incredibly excited to be able to offer this to the community. So all of the initiatives that we offer will be available here at the center. It is absolutely beautiful. We'll be reaching out to your office to schedule visits. Obviously, given the pandemic, we won't be able to do the type of grand opening that we would have done under different circumstances. But we will definitely make sure that it's open to the public and that we get people in to see what's happening there. So it has a maker lab. We also have a multi-purpose room, which has 3 different classrooms that can be opened up into one massive room for community meetings. We also have computer labs. There's a resource room that's been sponsored by Commonwealth Edison. We've got investments from a number of different private partners to help bring this to life. Another thing I want to lift up is the work that we're doing with our Coordinated Reentry Council. We're focused on creating systemic change to the reentry system so that returning citizens can get pre-release training and career services development and assessments and get matched with a navigator to help them figure out how to reintegrate into society successfully. So those are some of the key things that we're focused on. And in addition to that, as you all know, we were awarded the Contact Tracing Core and Resource Coordination Hub initiative. I can also lift up for you the different organizations that were funded here in South Shore if you're interested. So I'm happy to just stop there and take any questions that you might have. So I realize this has gone on a little long and we've had some technical difficulties.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do, Lisa.
Okay, go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Karen, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, and yourself?
Good to see you and good to hear from you. Real quick, Karen, I know when I was at the county, I worked with your second in command. I cannot remember his name to save my life. Can you?
Ray Bentley.
Ray Bentley. Okay, that's all I need. I know his number's in my phone. I need to call him about the 7. Yeah. Thank you.
And I'll tell you, Anthony, Ray is actually going to be running the center there for me. So we're bringing in all of our federal programming will be there, as well as other community partners and other training programs will be housed there. So Ray will be stationed at site.
Awesome. That's great news. I'll make sure I inform and update the alderman on all that. And so all the programming that you all provide.
Great. Thank you.
Karen, is there any update with the COVID tracing program that you guys are
Sure.
administrating?
Sure. So as of last Monday, of the 600 individuals that needed to be hired, we had over 300 that were already hired. I can tell you let me just tell you who is in South Shore providing services. Give me just one moment. Oh, goodness. All righty. Bear with me just 1 second. I actually thought I had that right at my fingertips. So we've got a number of agencies. We had about 90 organizations that actually asked to provide services through this initiative. We could not fund all 90. We were only able to fund 31 organizations. You may hear from groups that had wanted to be a part of the initiative, and unfortunately, we couldn't fund everybody, even if they were strong. And so let me just pull up the list of the names there. I'm actually happy to answer any questions that folks have with respect to the contact tracing initiative. You should know that organizations will be paying the contact tracers $20 an hour, and the supervisors will get $24 an hour. The organizations that will be servicing South Shore include Leave No Veteran Behind, the Community Assistance Program, Southside Help Center, Lawrence Hall, CAIC, and the Latino Resource Institute of Illinois will also do some hiring in the South Shore area.
What are the qualifications needed to be a tracer?
Actually, very, very little. Really, you have to be over 18. You have to have a desire to, or some experience with respect to customer service. I mean, it really is being able to have solid interpersonal skills and to address people's concerns. You also have to have some technical knowledge in terms of using a computer, because there's a platform that you have to use through the Chicago Department of Public Health. But it's not a highly skilled job. But we are adding into the project an earn and learn component where we will be offering people access to all of the different programs through the partnership, so that we will help them. We will use this as an on-ramp into permanent employment. These jobs, as envisioned by CDPH, are short-term jobs that will last a year, maybe 2 years at max. And so we married in our programs so that we can create longer-term permanent job placement out of this initiative.
Is there a specific phone number that could be put in the chat for people to actually call if they, mark this information and give it to somebody that they can call and get additional information or actually apply for the position?
Sure. So at this point, we are not fielding any additional applications. We had 21,000 people register interest in the initiative within 48 hours. And so there are no more spots there. The additional information is shytracing.com. I'm putting that there in the chat. The other information about our programs is at shycookworks.org, which I've also just put in the chat. I'm also putting in my email address if anyone has any additional questions about any of our programming.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Karen. If there aren't any more questions, I would love to move on. Questions going once, going twice, and let's see how computer savvy Lisa can be right now.
Thank you all.
Okay, so next on the agenda will be Sophia Carey, who great coworker, who who's here to talk about the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund and provide us some updates. Sophia?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa, and thank you everyone for giving me some of your time this afternoon. I think most people on this call are already familiar with the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund program, so this really isn't, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the general program. This is really an update of where we are currently at. As you may remember, we opened up the program to accept more applications on September 14th, and we are open to accepting applications all the way until November 6th. In the first week, we typically see kind of a big spike of applications. Things trickle down, and then we see another big spike right before our deadline closes. But in the first week, we had just under 1,500 instances where someone went onto the website and completed the 7-question project readiness quiz. We recognize that sometimes people will do it more than once just to, kind of feel out the system. So we did do a quick review of how many unique email addresses were provided, and it's still, close to 200,000. So that's great news for us. What that tells us is that there are a lot of people interested in the program and assessing how ready they are to apply. Also in that first week, we received 101 applications. And I apologize for that bullet. It's not filled out, but specific for this call, I did look up the number of applications in the South Chicago community area. And in that first week, we received 1. So 1 application received in the South Chicago area.
How much in the South Shore? This is South Shore and South Chicago.
In South Shore, it was 5. So in total, it's 6, which is, not bad for the first week, but obviously we want to work with you, everyone that's on the call, to identify additional projects that might be out in the community and see if they're willing to or interested in applying and being able to leverage the funds that we have to help them complete their projects more quickly. So again, the application period ends on Friday, November the 6th, and everyone starts at the same place, which is the website chicago.gov/NOF. Next slide. We also did take a quick look at the number of applications across the city. So this is just kind of a very kind of broad dashboard of that first week. And you can see that right now, Southeast, or as of that first week, the Southeast had the most submissions. That matches what we saw in the first round of applications this year. I think we have always had the most activity in the Southeast region. So that is great. Followed by the West. And then far south and southwest at the bottom. There were 5 applications that didn't give us an address. So those will, when after the application closes, will be declined. And then 3 that were in the central downtown area, which is also not a qualified area. So those will also be declined. But again, our goal is to try and have all of the regions have a strong number so that we can really select and support the strongest and best fit projects in the neighborhood.
Hi, this is Alderman Harris. I apologize. Could you give me the total numbers again for those? I heard how many declined. I just didn't hear the total number. I apologize.
Oh, sure. If total number for just the first week was 101.
Okay, and for the Southeast, how many?
For Southeast, it was 39.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and then the far south was 12. So, so keep up those numbers and let's continue. We've still got, several weeks to go. So it's not too late to attract new grantees, grant applicants.
And my final question is that how are they separated by TIF district?
No, they're not. Not at this time. So the NOF, I guess, Alderman, I'm curious why you're asking that question, because the NOF program is not funded by TIF. It's the downtown density bonus. So there are times where, TIF plays a factor into it, but in general, it's not part of the selection process per se. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Do you have another question? I kind of.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry, Lisa. I want to piggyback on what Alderman Harris said. One of the reasons we look at the projects being in TIF districts, because we would rather projects have an opportunity for neighborhood opportunity fund grant money versus taking money out of the TIF. So
sure. Yeah, Alderman, that's a good point. And that's, you know, what we have not done is to not select strong projects because they were in a TIF. So there is no disadvantage to an application coming in being in a TIF. Once the application period closes, we will, you know, do the kind of geocoding and the geographic analysis to identify how many are in which TIF and which area, which Invest Southwest community, all of that. But we want to keep everything open until the application period closes. And then really, you know, it is a competitive program. And the competition is really based on how ready the applicant is to start and finish their project. Because having the money sit in a bank waiting for the grantee to get started doesn't do anyone any good. So really is project readiness. And then how impactful or how well of a fit it is to the community needs. And, you know, to assist applicants with that, we have a new section on the NOF website that actually links to the Invest Southwest site and talks about all the community plans. That way the applicants can address or respond to how their proposal will fit into the community plans where that's applicable. Any other questions?
Thank you, Sophia. If there
Yeah,
are
thank you, Lisa.
any more questions? Go ahead, if there are any more questions. Okay, then we're going to move on. So the next on our agenda, would like to just talk to the stakeholders online about the developer RFP process and timeline. The city are issuing RFPs for city-owned land. So the first step I want to say is that talk to you guys about what the Invest Southwest RFPs. So these requests for proposals solicit development proposals for city-owned land. Traditionally, RFPs provided details regarding the subject sites, such as zoning, the appraised value, and a brief, you know, bullet point reference to preferred use. Well, the Invest Southwest RFPs go a step further, and they illustrate the desired urbanism of the site, as well as describing more detailed or deeper description of uses desired by the community. They're also built on an understanding of available incentives. So they know offhand, they know once they get this RFP, they know what the city has to offer in order to for them to propose a development to ensure a high level of financial feasibility. What the RFP is not, it's not another plan. The drawings and images and narratives associated with the RFPs just help to shape the response that will be given with, to developers. So we engage during roundtables and visioning workshops and aim to review potential uses and densities and site layouts. But it's important to note that the responding developer can choose and propose their own design and programs. I know that sounds kind of confusing, so I'm going to back up a little bit. With these RFPs, we might engage pro bono work from consultants that will come out and be on a roundtable, talk with the stakeholders, talk about what they would like to see. They will come back and do some massing images. So what you see on the diagram before you are different massing images on alternatives that might be presented based upon the feedback that the consultants get from the community. And so they'll come back and say, well, do you like the way this look? With this type of end use in mind? And so that's how the exchange of information goes back and forth to help us develop the RFP. So we're focusing on city-owned land, high visibility development on front doors of neighborhoods, In looking at, and I brought the map before, showing the opportunity sites. I have to go back to this one. And I would like for us to talk about 3 and 4 a little bit more. We have some beautiful buildings, and I think there are some developments that need to occur simultaneously. However, they're not city owned. So we would like to just work on what the city, what the city and partnering with the stakeholders can control that development outcome. So the RFPs have 3 main goals. They want to facilitate design excellence on the south and west sides. They want to use inclusive decision-making process and guide the economic development. And we also would like to build local wealth. So achieving design excellence means prioritizing inclusive design processes to foster equitable development. And so the pro bono consulting organization that I was speaking of earlier is the Chicago Central Area Committee. They are a group of individuals from several different backgrounds, be it architects, engineers, financial background. And so they will come in. We will probably meet a few times on Roundtable and then have a specific visioning workshop. And through those connections, we'll be building programming and massing concepts. They will be rendering and providing visual concepts. We will look at the right-of-way and make street recommendations, streetscape recommendations, and etc. And so this is something that they did in another community. They were presenting different multiple development possibilities for one site, or looking at all of the areas in that areas, opportunities in the area, and looking at it from different lenses. So out of the massing, this was one of the final results, examples that they came up with. So the second goal of the RFP is to use inclusive decision-making process to guide economic development. This is through the roundtables. This is through engaging through the visioning workshops, and even working with the Alderman's office to identify other stakeholders that should be interviewed and getting different perspectives. So the funding implications of preferred concepts based upon that feedback, it allows the planning and housing incentive teams to coordinate and determine financial assistance needed to complete each project. So we look at all of our resources in our toolkit, be it TIF, NOF, low-income housing tax credits, new market tax credits, etc., so that we can say, okay, based upon feedback, based upon what we have come together and made a decision as a community, this is what we think is the highest best use. This is what we think the city will be able to assist in or provide the incentives on. The RFP also is a development manual. That's basically what I've explained. And so it shows the developer what is desired by the community and the feasibility with coordinated city incentives. Building local wealth. So we want to ensure that applicants are local developers of color. And so we are looking at 4 different potential levels of local involvement, being development teams, designer teams, contractors and trades, tenants and businesses. So where submission requirements considerations will be given. We're trying to figure out how to evaluate it. We do have 3 RFPs that have already gone out, so we're just waiting to see how that will manifest and will it produce what our objective was. So we're looking at matrix versus description report approach. We're also looking at how do we give points if this team has a minority leadership or they partner with the local stakeholder. We're looking at all of that to try to help build local wealth. We're looking to just foster opportunities for professional services. So Chicago Architecture Center, on behalf of the City of Chicago, has created a list of preferred local design service firms for contracting opportunities within the Invest Southwest initiative. We're just trying to drive inclusive growth. The Chicago Emerging Minority Contractors Development Initiative. This is a goal. It's a pipeline of community-focused developers, and we're looking to just help promote and guide younger talent.
Yeah.
Somebody had a question? Okay. Build local wealth. Because local developers hire local designers, lease to local businesses, these are some examples of things that have happened in the past. We're using RFP selection process just for meaningful engagement with the community. So after that, we will shortlist final respondents from the RFP, and we will present finalists to the community. And then community feedback incorporated into city negotiation process will occur with selected that responded. And then the city announces the selected proposals to the community. So this is just an overall process. We will begin with roundtables. Once CCAC comes aboard, we will do probably a couple additional roundtables, then a visioning workshop and stakeholder interviews will occur. After all of that and everything is put together, we will release the RFP based upon the input from roundtables and workshops. Respondents are given 3 months to put together their proposal. Then it takes us about 1.5 months to evaluate those response from the RFP. In that time, we'll also, the DPD will shortlist the number of responses, and we will come back and have them present to the community before we present the final winner of the RFP. So the last step would be developer selected. This is an overall list. As I stated earlier, we have already released 3 RFPs, August of 2020. We're looking to do 3 more in November 2020. We have not determined a timeline. That's why I'm coming out and talking with the stakeholders first, and I'll be talking with the aldermen to determine our timeline for South Shore. So I'm going to stop there and ask if there's any questions. No questions?
I raised a question in the chat. I'm asking whether or not it's possible to add firms to the preferred design list, add local firms that may not be on the list.
Sure, and I don't have, you can actually just send that to me and I will send it to those 2 organizations.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Hi, Lisa, this is Tanya Trice. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, the RFPs that have already been released, are they for South Shore lots or
no,
other areas of the city?
There are other areas of the city. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that sometimes people are not on the computer, but I will.
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Yeah. So the other 3 sites are, we released 838 to 58 West 79th Street, which is in the Auburn Gresham community, and Inglewood Square Phase 2. Those are the 2 that are on and in the Southeast region, in which we released an RFP. They're available online. I would encourage everyone to pull it down and take a look at it. It's different from our RFPs of old. And the third one was the Laramie State Bank, which is on the west side of Chicago.
One other question. So I know that the Invest Southwest program is going to focus on 79th Street, but are all the resources committed to the South Shore community only for 79th Street, or will there be other resources invested along other corridors?
Every project will be determined based upon what is presented. We have a TIF that 71st and Stony Island TIF. If the project is worthy and the person can justify the request and the gap, of course there will be opportunities for other projects. The resources for Invest Southwest is focused on 79th Street, but that does not preclude us from working in other parts of the area, which we are. There's been a project on 71st Street that has received an NOF. So there, of course there's opportunities. We're not saying that we're shutting everything else down just to focus on 79th Street. We're just concentrating our efforts, but that does not preclude us from working elsewhere in the community.
Which project got the NOF on 71st Street?
Video.
Raouf? Probably.
Yeah,
Sophia?
that's the gentleman's name. Yeah, that's the gentleman's name, Raouf. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thanks so much.
Any additional questions or concerns? I'm going to move on to the opportunity sites. Okay. So I brought this map before to our group to talk about opportunities. And as time goes on, I do need to update this map, but just talking briefly, I think each end of the corridor has great opportunities for development. Unfortunately, the process will need to be different because they are privately owned, but this being a gateway, as well as Stony Island and 79th Street being a gateway with the Regal Theater, 79th and Commercial with the building to the north that used to be, that was in the barbershop film. I think if we could develop these two corners as entryway, I think everything else will fill in, but they're privately owned. So the process needs to be different. So what the city controls, looking at the city-owned land from this map, number 3 and 4, which is on Manistee and 79th Street, the southeast and west corner are our biggest opportunities to release an RFP for. I think the release of the RFP accompanied with other strategies will help bring focus on 79th Street, competition, and I think it'll get people to start looking at doing more things on 79th Street. This is an aerial view of what we own on Manistee and 79th Street. So there may also be an opportunity for a parcel that is just east of the parcel on the southeast corner. It's privately owned, but we can always encourage, look at the ownership and see if there's an ability to increase the land assemblage there. I'm showing an aerial, not an aerial, but the subject property. There may, we do see a challenge with the billboard on one of the parcels, but it does show that it's city owned. So we will look at whether or not, how to remove that billboard. Then there's another parcel I'm showing the other vacant lot. One of the great amenities is that it's close to the Melcher train station. So I want to just I'm going to go back to the aerial and see I need feedback on what do you think would be a good opportunity in use for Manistee and 79th Street. Just want to hear it again, knowing that to the north is a strip mall, diagonally to the north off of Marquette. The church on Burnham, right, in 79th. Just want to hear from the stakeholders on the group, or what are they thinking?
This is Joyce. I'm familiar with those lots, and I think one of the problems has been that the lots are too small. Is there a way that possibly that street can be closed off? One, say, Manistee between the two lots? Is there a way you can make like a, what do you call those?
Cul-de-sac.
Yeah, a cul-de-sac there, so that's a complete, there would be a street there that would close off Manistee to the south and take that property completely across, so that would increase the size of the lots. Is that a possibility?
So I don't know what the infrastructure underneath the street is. I don't know if there needs to be an easement because there may be some underground utilities there. So that's something that needs to be looked into a little bit deeper. But I will say that, are we going to have a big, I'm exaggerating, Amazon distribution center here? No. But maybe it's an opportunity, as I said, for the parcel on the east side of Manistee, for us to assemble a larger parcel and we can go higher. So it could be a mixed use development, right? That's 4 stories, depending on what's across. I don't know how tall this building is on Burnham on the north. I can't remember how tall that building, but there's an opportunity to go higher, right? We can look at mixed use at this corner. Go ahead.
I have a question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Joyce again. I brought that up because we've been trying to get a grocery store, and one of the problems is they said the lots are not large enough. And if we possibly close that street, that would give us the land that we needed for a grocery store. That's why I asked that question.
And maybe we need to look at a smaller independent grocery store. And I think it may not be that the lot is too small, but it might not be enough parking. So that's a different situation that we can talk about, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to be we have to think about these things, maybe in a broader sense. But let's look at that. Any more questions?
Just a comment. Diagonal to that barbershop movie site that you mentioned is a building that had a currency exchange on the corner, and right next to it, going east, was a building that was a bank, sort of a historic type of building and very interesting in its appointments and everything. I can't tell from the aerial view because I can't enlarge it, whether or not that's privately or city owned.
I see the city-owned parcel listed here, which I need to, I believe it's a lot that's south of the bank building that you...
The piece, yeah, there is a lot south of the bank building, you're right, because it's between that and the church. Used to be the church used to be a movie theater called the Cheltenham, and they have a lot next, and then is this bank set of buildings that I'm wondering, are they city-owned?
The bank buildings are not city-owned.
Okay.
Any additional questions or comments? Any thoughts?
Lisa, can we go to the properties that you on the east side that are mine?
Wait one second. Hi. Lisa, I'm just curious if any of the properties that are listed, if any of the content from the transportation study that was done by South Shore will direct us and guide us towards what a lot of the community is interested in for those parcels?
We're definitely taking a look at the South Shore Plan and other documents that have been listed out here, but it's nothing like community engagement. It's always good to refresh and to continue to get that feedback. So that's all that I'm doing here. We are taking all of that in consideration. And when we get the CACC consultants on board, they will also be looking at those plans as well. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Harris, you were asking about the properties on the east side, on the west side of the corridor?
On the west side, on the west side of the corridor.
Yes. So because they're privately owned, this will have to go through a different process And I will be happy to talk to you about that process first offline.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've been talking and got some ideas.
Okay.
Okay.
But I just, because I was looking at my city stuff, so I didn't know if I had some city lots that were part of the RFP.
So not at this time, unless people online think we should look at it. There are some cities that when this was first looked at, they thought because 3 and 4 were the largest, the ones down by Manistee were larger than and easier to assemble, will be an easy RFP to do.
And thinking, not being, I don't want to be selfish. I think that that's an excellent idea to adjoin all the lots that are down there in the 7th Ward and to be able to pull something bigger in than giving 1 or 2 of the units off. Now, it ain't my ward, but that's just my personal opinion, that if you got a string of a city-owned property down there, I think you should be talking with Alderman Mitchell about stringing them all together and seeing who will cast the net on it.
Right. So given the, so that will definitely be looked at when the consultants come on board. The challenge is because of the limited resources, we will have to look at whether or not we can string them all in. So I just wanted feedback. I wanted to take this time to get feedback on that, but I will take that back to the group. But we will not be able to fund everything. So I want us to be careful and methodical about how we move this forward. But Alderman Harris, there is a couple of vacant parcels between Ridgeland and East End on the north side of the street that are also owned by the Cook County Land Bank. And the city owns maybe 2 lots, and then there may be a building in between, which may be a great opportunity to assemble something larger. The Regal Theater is very important. I think, does everyone agree that the Regal Theater is an important icon in the community?
Lisa, this is Brent Sharif. I'm affirming that it is. For those lots that are there on the north side that you say belong to the land bank as well as the city, is the intent to have the highest and best use for, and I'll just leave that blank, for
whatever that
highest employment and highest compatibility with other things that are in the area, what would that be? Because I do know that the Regal Theater, one of their challenges has been parking. Parking is a huge issue for them. And without parking, with the capacity that auditorium has, it's almost going to be a no-go.
Right. And that's something that we're currently looking at. But again, I wanted to focus this conversation. I appreciate that feedback. And, but I wanted to focus on the city-owned properties at this time. At a later roundtable, we can talk more in depth about the Regal. But my point of bringing up, you made a good point, Mr. Sharif, about parking. And perhaps we need to just having conversations to signal that the city is interested in keeping these lots just for parking. So that's something that I can look into for future use of the Regal Theater.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa. My name is Lisa, and I just had a question with the 3 and 4. It's kind of hard to throw out ideas in some respects if we don't have a business in mind, per se. So I think my perspective is we want something that will help stimulate growth on the street. And so it's kind of hard to throw out specific ideas. I mean, I know we've talked in the past about, things like plazas that, people could, possibly gather at, where, maybe there'd be concerts and things like that, but we also want businesses. So it's kind of hard to conceptualize what exactly it will be until we kind of know more, what businesses will come.
Mm-hmm. So I guess my answer would be, what are the businesses or amenities that you like in the community? And
well, like Mrs. Brown said, definitely a grocery store. There isn't one on 79th Street anywhere between South Shore and Stony.
So,
but then, there's, if you want to foster more service that, we don't really have restaurants, we don't have ice cream shops, we don't have service, we're just lacking everything. And I think that that's where it's hard, like, what's the first thing to come in an area that doesn't really have anything on that street to begin with.
What's in a retail center?
There's like a Family Dollar, I
right.
think. We have several Family Dollars on 79th Street. So I don't think we're lacking with that, but
where's the closest dry cleaners?
I believe there was one on 79th Street, but I'm not sure if it's still operating.
It's on Yates, 79th and Yates.
And do people use dry cleaners that much to warrant more of them? I don't know. In the state.
What are the thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, I personally use a dry cleaner like maybe once or twice a year. I don't know.
I don't think that dry cleaners are used that much anymore. Most people are getting, those things are washable.
Yeah.
And I think dry cleaners is not anything that maybe people are asking for it, but it's not that a great need for dry cleaners.
And there's a laundromat across the street in that strip mall, or there was one, a large laundromat.
Yeah, there's a laundromat. Yeah, but they're speaking of a dry cleaner.
I was just making that as a suggestion, just to try to get, some more thought and some more, input on what it could be.
Yeah, I definitely think like a grocery store or some kind of, possible small restaurants.
So truth be told, the sites 3 and 4 would not be large enough for a grocery store. But a mixed use with a cafe on the first floor could work.
Yeah.
My next question to the group would be, have you guys thought of, are there entrepreneurs or people that who are ready for brick and mortar? Like, are there some home bakers who have a side business that may need some help building their business plan, but they really, are ready to go? Would a bakery, I don't remember a bakery on 79th Street as I'm going down it through my mind.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we discussed in our group that we possibly would need, that would be helpful, and that would be at the corner of Exchange and 79th. It would be a bakery rather than some type of coffee shop. It would make sense to have a bakery there.
So tell me your ideal of a bakery.
My idea of a bakery is someone who's doing fresh baked goods every day. They're actually baking, and they're actually not someone who's just shipping in, from a distributor, baked goods. But they're actually a baker that's baking.
So could that concept be expanded? Because I'm thinking about, well, could that concept be expanded where there is a fresh bakery, right? A fresh
I can't hear the
bakery.
background. Someone's
I'm
in the
sorry,
background.
can you please mute your phone? Thank you. Could it possibly be expanded where this baker who's baking cakes and pies and cookies can also serve coffee, can also with their baked goods do a breakfast item? I'm just trying to, you know,
Yeah, that's
expand
a
the possibilities,
yeah.
right?
Yes, that's a realistic thought. Yes. Because usually bakeries, a real bakery only stays open a half a day.
Right.
You know, they
Lisa,
serve
this
their
is Tanya
customers in the
Trice
morning.
again.
I'm sorry, can you please let her finish speaking? Go ahead, ma'am.
Huh?
Go ahead, the one who was talking about the bakery, go ahead.
Oh, you know, I think about that people are, you know, bakeries usually typically only stay open about a half day. So, you know, when you say adding other items to it, it makes sense. I mean, maybe they would serve a lunch or something after that. But those are two, I'm not into that industry, so I don't see them being comparable, but it could happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Tanya, you wanted to have a comment?
Yes, I apologize for interrupting. I thought she was finished. But the chamber is working with a young lady who's interested in bringing a bakery concept to the community, but she's looking more to do something along the lines of wedding cakes and birthday cakes, cakes that are decorated and for special occasions. So I would definitely like to explore other locations on 79th Street for her. She is planning on applying for the Neighborhood Opportunity Grant, and we're working with her now to put together her business plan. She's been working from her home now, and she is definitely ready to expand into a brick and mortar, and she's very talented. And also, you
Does she
know,
have a
we are working.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. She's located in the suburbs right now in Madison, but she wants to come into the city.
Okay. But she doesn't have a location in mind.
Not yet. We're looking to find something now.
Okay. So with the thoughts of, you know, it is 1:13 and I don't, we got 15 minutes left or so. With the thoughts of entrepreneurs being able to move from a home-based business into a brick and mortar, what would be the concept of a mixed-use development that offers an opportunity, some type of, I don't know, co-op on the first floor where people can, you know, open up their business, or a pop-up of some sort to give people opportunity to build on their branding? Just a thought. Anybody?
I'm going to be honest. I think that our housing stock is such right now that at this point, I don't think we would need a mixed use development on 79th. We have off of 79th, there's so many vacant homes, so many vacant buildings that need to be, and I don't know how they're going to be sold and used, but there's a lot of housing stock. And when you start to move more people onto 79th and out of the main streets, I don't see that I don't see a mixed use as being good at this time.
Okay. Any other comments? I appreciate your comment. Duly noted. I think there's some other strategies that we can work on, but okay. Any other comments?
I think that the main thing is we just want something that will spur more development, because I mean, the whole, like I said before, that there's just nothing there. So if we're going to put the time and effort into creating something, we want it to be something that will, you know, generate other things to come.
And the city wants
waves.
Yeah, and city wants the same thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. We want the same thing.
I think it would be
I'm sorry, I think we lost you.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
To Tanya's point, I think that we all have a lot of entrepreneurs and home-based businesses that are interested, but being able to really choose a space that leverages them being startups and makes them feel comfortable and have the space to grow, I think is really something that we're all thinking about, and how to tie that into the Regal so it has a very, it creates a synergy in the entire corridor. I think that building piece by piece and moving those pieces in a very strategic way just seems really important.
Appreciate
Hello.
you. Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Vincent.
Excellent. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Love the dialogue that's going on. By the way, my name is Vincent Hale. I'm the owner of the McDonald's on 79th and Phillips. So not looking to put another McDonald's. So you know, but so the question that I have is has it been determined what the ratio needs to be or what it should be as to whether it's going to be some of the properties to be used for single or multi-unit homes or businesses, right? Is there a ratio 50-50 or are we going mostly towards businesses and storefronts, or you know, what's that ratio if it's been determined?
So there's no ratio determined at this time. But when we think about Stony Island to commercial, we're talking about a very huge corridor. And so at this current time, I think that the housing stock that exists and that is functional should remain. Will the whole commercial corridor vibe with just all commercial and no residential? Well, I'm from the old school. I think you always need eyes on the street. So mixed use, but whether or not a ratio has been determined, no, it's really based upon what the developer can build. Would it be mixed use with market rate housing? Would it be mixed use with affordable housing? We see that there were townhomes built on 71st Street. But that was a different environment. That was a different situation. It's near the South Shore Cultural Center. How would that work? Where would that be perfect here on 79th Street? I think that takes a little bit more thought before conversation can be made. It's easy for me to talk about the west side of 79th Street by Stony. Hello? Because there's a creation of a cultural, I think it's happening, you know, organically, of a cultural corridor going north on Stony Island. I think the node on the east side of 79th Street is very important. I think that is exciting. But I also do believe there's opportunities within that corridor. I think we just need to take it, you know, we got to take this elephant. Is Karen still on the line? Because she gave me this quote. We need to take this elephant and eat it, the entire thing, one bite at a time. And I think we can do it. We can be successful.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lisa.
One thought, and I'm going back years ago.
Yes.
There had been an attempt to give an Afrocentric spin. It was a little bit west of these particular lots. But do you think that with the not being that far from the drive and having looked at some of the corridors that have built communities, i.e. down Madison Street, down Lake Street, if you put something that is exciting, i.e. some restaurant, like you were saying, maybe a breakfast place, I don't know, a bakery with good seating arrangements, good, you know, something that would be a fun place to go. And then that could spawn other other businesses that are similar. That's what does not happen in our communities. We always look at, i.e. Bronzeville, we look at the housing, getting wonderful housing, and there's no infrastructure. If we methodically look at this 79th Street corridor, what do we need? We need a bakery, we need cleaners, we need restaurants, we need those kind of things, and take a page out of those books that we have seen. South Loop develop, Lake Street, River North, all of these start with putting businesses there first, and then the housing will take care of itself, because there's wonderful housing stock.
Wonderful housing stock, yes.
Wonderful housing
Yes,
stock.
yes, it
And
is.
if we are not careful, someone is, and I'm going to put that in quotes, their eyes on this, and it will be done. So let us initiate that.
So let me understand. Are you speaking of a type of branding or theme for the corridor?
Well, I'm speaking of a theme for the corridor. Yes, if we could do things that were, one of the things about the South Side of Chicago, as far as tourism is concerned, there's no draw. What is a fun place to go? Family-oriented, multi-generational. What are some of those things that might begin to be the seed, if you will, of that?
So I think you're making a really good point, and I'm sorry to cut you off. I see a hand is raised, and then I want to listen to that question. I'm going to come back and make a recommendation on some things that we could do, and then close with the alderman having something to say and my deputy, if that's all right with everyone, because we do have some other things that we need to move on. But I love this conversation. I'm excited that I had so many people to opine on what should be happening with 79th Street. Ms. Blackman, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Sure, thank you. I know I'm just joining this conversation probably several months late. However, I live on 76th and Cornell, and so I drive down 79th Street, east and west, almost every day. So my question kind of came about is, are we picking or talking about the type of businesses, brick and mortar, that the people that are currently residing here are interested in? So that led me to the question, has there been any type of survey done to the surrounding residents of 79th Street? So I'm not saying that we need to talk to 10,000 people, but has there been an effort to ask the residents that are currently here what they are interested in having here, what services, what products, what is missing? And then we also should plan to, what are the people that are going to come and move into South Shore? What are they going to need? And I think sometimes in planning and economic development, we want to bring more people in, but we forget about the people that are here. South Shore is heavily dense. We have a large and diverse group of people that live here. And so I just would like to, if I was a part of the table, I would want to know that there are businesses, or they're thinking about businesses that actually benefit me being a resident currently here, and not residents that are going to be here when housing improves, or, tax rates and et cetera go down. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Ms. Blackman. Appreciate your comments. Let me begin by saying that is one of the intents of the roundtable. We're hoping that you're talking to your neighbors and you're bringing that information back. There are a number of plans going on in South Shore right now where community feedback is being documented. The city just completed the South Shore plan early this year, where there was a number of community engagements. But you do make a good point. And perhaps with this virtual technology, and see, and that there's always limitations, right? You're not going to get 1,000 people on a virtual call. We're not going to get 2,000 people to come out for a roundtable. Even if we were to send out, and I'm thinking about it, you've given me some good thoughts. How do we send out a survey just to the South Shore residents? And how do we make sure that residents that won't be, that's cost effective, because we got to remember that. And how do we make sure that residents that are not technologically savvy or don't have access to a computer participate? So I would love to hear more comments on that.
Lisa.
I think.
Lisa, the good news about this is I am currently working on the Chicago Connected program for South Shore and Greater Bridgehampton. So we're tackling these challenges of how do we reach out to people? How do we make sure that we're reaching out just not on the phone or an email, but how do we get face-to-face to people that don't utilize those services?
That's
so
great.
I am open to expanding on that conversation.
Let's talk. Can you, if you put I can put my email or my number in the chat box. We had Chicago Connect on here last roundtable. And so be happy to talk to you about how we can get that done. I got a lot to talk to you about, because I think it will be interesting if we can set up some type of mechanism where we can continue this dialogue even between roundtables, right? Where people are inputting information and they can have, we can respond to that. So absolutely, we'll love to talk to you in more detail. So it is currently 1:27. I'm going to ask the aldermen if they have any closing remarks or anything that they want to comment on.
This is Alderman Mitchell. No, Lisa, I don't have anything, but just to elaborate on what you said in answering Ms. Blackman's question, the South Shore Corridor study was initiated about 2 years ago, and everything that she has recommended was involved in that study. We're actually looking to your point, we're looking to do more studies like that. But myself and Alderman Harris are both always open to hearing from the community and discussing these issues. And in turn, we discuss those same things with the Department of Planning and our other avenues and people that we work with in trying to get a lot of things done in the ward. So I like the discussion today. I hope we continue it. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Harris? Jim?
Yeah, I didn't know if Alderman Harris had something to say to close this out, but I certainly can. I agree with the last caller. It's been a great conversation. I think one of the things that we need to be very, very cognizant of is that we've got time to really populate, what is going into these RFPs. In other words, we can do those surveys, we can poll the community, literally seeing what the community would like to support in terms of new businesses coming into the community. But also, I want to add this. This is also an opportunity for small businesses within the community to make themselves known, particularly if they're looking to kind of make that transition from one location or at least, populate any of the storefronts that are available along 79th Street. This is an opportunity for those small businesses. And just to elaborate on that for 1 second, if we're going to be attracting local developers to renovate some of the existing buildings or even better, build, one of the things that those developers are going to want to know is who are the small businesses in the community that are literally looking for space. Investors are looking for that. And what I'm hoping, and Tanya, I know you're on the call. I think Melinda was on the call as well. Frankie, I know you're on the call. There are small businesses that I know you guys are aware of who are looking for space. And if you've got a developer who's going to come to the table, is going to experience some of the city resources, Sophia just left a call. We've got $250,000 for those small businesses to move into some of these spaces. This is a remarkable moment in time where we can tee this stuff up. And Lisa has literally started the process where we're looking to 2021 when we want to literally kind of ignite this RFP. So there's time to kind of tee these things up and get those businesses ready and start letting them know what's coming. Because again, if we're going to attract local developers to, literally get in the game, we want to let them know that not only are there resources available from the city, but there's small businesses. I'm sorry? There's small businesses literally ready to populate those storefronts that they're going to develop. So with that, Lisa, great job today. And, I look forward to this, to continuing this conversation. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Alderman Harris, see if she's on the line, or Al Ryder.
Yeah,
No?
I'm here, but she's on. I think she's still on. Alderman, are you still on?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
this.
I'm good. Yeah, thanks, Al. Hello?
Okay. Go ahead, Al.
Okay.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm fine. I was just listening. I didn't have any questions.
Okay.
We can talk offline about some other things. Though.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. And I don't want to be remiss by reminding people that if you have ideals, anyone, organizations, individuals, please also contact your alderman's office. And let's all share and communicate and get this job done. So again, thank you all for your time. Next roundtable is November the 5th. Let me just make sure. Yeah, November the 5th. At that time, CDOT wants to do a presentation per Alderman Harris's request regarding streetscape. And we're going to talk more about the RFP timeline and just have further engagement. So until next time, be well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Lisa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you send me the addresses of the city-owned properties that are in the 8th?
Sure. Who am I speaking with?
It's Frankie. I'll email you.
Frankie. Okay, great. No problem.
Thank you. Okay.